How are you? I hope all is fine. It is Thursday lunchtime, right? My stomach is really crumbling. I think I'm hungry. And this tea is fine, but I'm going to have to get something to eat. I am really hungry. And I think, it's fine, but trying to not eat isn't very wise. Hello, YouTube family. I hope everybody's doing okay. Get your coach. I'm not going to be on long, but I did want to stop by and say hello. Hello, good afternoon. It is just slightly afternoon, but it's noon no less, right? So, while I'm getting ready for my day, I thought that I would talk to you about how you talk to you. And I know it's a little hard to admit, but there are times we don't talk to ourselves very nicely. And at times we're kind of brutal. Other times we are pretty soul-soothing. We can be kind. And then there are definitely times when we can be very soul-warming. I mean, truly kind to ourselves. But, of course, just like with everything, we do have a tendency to change. We can change our ways just by changing, what we've been through. And so sometimes we're very nice to ourselves, and other times not so much. And let me just say, if you're not a member on my Patreon, you need to get over there, because I really kind of deep dived this morning about this, because we aren't very nice to ourselves, and I know we're not, because I have clients that I talk to, and I don't care what kind of job they have, what home they're in, what car they drive, they are struggling. I mean, I don't care how much money they have. It doesn't matter. They're struggling with how they're coping with what they're saying to themselves on the inside. And so now it's time to get serious about how do we deal with this. And it's not easy. But let's be honest, there's some serious conversations that we need to have out loud. But first, can I be honest? A lot of us aren't honest to ourselves about what we say to ourselves. So we'll say something very vicious, and then we'll deny we even said it. And then we wonder why outsiders, be it friends, family, co-workers, whomever, they're talking to us kind of nasty. And then, of course, we have our comebacks because we don't tolerate it. And we'll check them or correct them. But the problem is they are the mirror. Let me show you something. They are the mirror of who you are to you internally. So what you're saying to yourself is definitely how people are coming across to you. So there's 4 categories that I help you to see if you are falling just by taking my quiz. It's $19, called Why Am I So Mean to Me? And if you take the test, I'm telling you, you're going to get some clarity as to what you are doing inside. Now, what's deep is It's not about the score. It's just about you becoming aware of where you are on how you talk to yourself in your private thoughts. And it's not always something that we admit. But if we were raised with maybe overly protective, strict parents, or we had military moms and dads, or we had big families, so we all had to follow suit on what to do and how to do it, or we had siblings that were a lot. We had an overwhelm of it was overly crowded in our home. All of these different things can definitely impact your internal dialogue today on how you talk to you. Because once you come out of your environment that you're raised under, let me tell you what, it does impact our adult life and how we deal with ourselves as we age. Now, we don't really understand that, but it's true. We have a tendency to treat ourselves the way we were raised up in our homes. So here's the deal. Listen to me closely. You could have been raised in a family that were mean to you, bullies. Hey, we've had, I know, bullies in our family, and we don't want to admit that some of our siblings may have been bullying us. And unfortunately, because we may have been terrified or scared or unaware of how to deal with it, we would just go inward and we wouldn't say anything. And so when we don't talk, we just close up. And this is why we have underdeveloped throat chakras, because we can't speak. When we do feel challenged, or we do feel bullied, or we do feel disrespected or disappointed, we have a tendency to shut it all down because we don't know how to cope or how to deal with it or how to say something back in return to the mistreatment of the way someone's talked to us. So I wanted to touch base really quick on how do we know how we deal with or how we cope with outsiders and how they talk to us. But rather than me focusing merely on how someone on the outside is handling themselves, I want you to first deep dive and see how you are handling yourself. So there's 4 categories and to really look at to know your soul state currently. Okay, so the first one is, are you soul shattered? So just imagine if I took this cup right now, which I won't because I love my tea and I don't want to do this, but imagine if I took my cup right now and just dropped it on the floor and it shattered in pieces. That's how some of your scores, once you see how you speak to yourself in your test, that's how your soul is. It's shattered in a multitude of pieces. And because you have brokenness in your soul, it's hard to really even remotely believe, that you're in this soul state, but you are. So let's just be honest first that, okay, I am soul shattered. What does soul shattered stand for? So soul shattered means you are an intense inner critic. I'm going to say that again. If you are soul shattered, you are an intense soul critic, which means you criticize yourself and you are extremely mean to you. And this may not just be because of the fact that you say mean things to yourself currently, and that's what you're hearing you say to yourself, but it could be practiced because of being bullied at home, bullied at school, bullied, even at work. This inner critic could have developed from a different range outside of your own soul state that has caused you to become soul shattered. And because of that, I'm helping you to see, oh, I was soul shattered. I am soul shattered. Or I've had seasons where I was soul shattered. Well, how do you deal with it? Take the test. And it's $19 to take the test. It's soul shattered. If you are at that soul state, it would really serve you well to learn what is it and how is it that you're at that state of being. Normally, you have went through your family life where you really were broken and shattered. Okay? Now, the second is soul fractured. So again, we have definitely different types. Hey, Brittany, we have different types of states in our soul that causes us to be where we are. So, soul shattered first. But now we're speaking about soul fractured. So when your soul is fractured, imagine when you've ridden your bike or you were running or whatever, and you have a broken, fractured foot. Now your foot isn't dangling, but it is cracked, no less. That crack, that fracture, is definitely painful, and it's definitely easy to see. That's what your soul is. It's fractured. It's not shattered, but it is fractured. So when your soul is in a fractured state, that means that you are critical in your soul, but you're aware that you are. Okay? You're aware that you are a critic. Now, awareness is very important to be. However, it doesn't mean that that's the best way, because even though you're aware, you really sometimes don't know what to do after the understanding or really paying attention to the awareness of you being that. So you could be so fractured, aware that you are a high inner critic, but it doesn't necessarily mean you know how to fix this. You know, when someone says that they have a fractured bone, you would think, oh, just wrap it up. It's okay. Just wrap it up and just wrap it in some, one of those ace bandages and you'll be okay. Not when you're fractured, you can't. You have to put it in a cast. That's the same with the soul. You now have to get down and deep, and you have to really mold and come up with a way to heal internally. That's what a soul fracture looks like. Soul mending is the next category. So now you do say healing dialogue, inner dialogue to yourself. I always reference this to my grandson. I have a autistic grandson that he's nonverbal. Well, I shouldn't say nonverbal. He has moments he is verbal. And my grandson will get in trouble because he's doing a crying spell. He's being outrageous with it. And I'll tell him, listen, you must decompress with all that hollering and go down and figure it out. And once you go down there and figure it out and you calm yourself, then you can come up. But you cannot disturb Gammy's peace. So you need to go and decompress. Now, he usually says on his way down the steps, because he's not happy he cannot just be in my space with all that hollering, he will decompress, and what he'll say to himself is, I'm okay. I'm okay. I said, whatever you have to say to you to get yourself together is fine with me. But understand, grandson, you cannot disturb Gammy's peace. That is what we do when we are in this state. So when we are in soul mending state, we normally have a very nice healing dialogue with ourselves to help us to get to a better state of being okay. So that is the state of what I call soul mending. This is a category that you can be in for your soul to be in a better state of being. Now, the last and final category you can be in for your soul state is soul thawed. Soul thawed is very warm and compassionate. You're very warm and compassionate to yourself and how you speak to yourself internally. Now, this is very unique because when we have a tendency to feel frustrated, upset, or overwhelmed, a lot of times we don't know what to do. So those that are in this soul state, which is soul thawed, they have a tendency to know how to be compassionate to themselves. They actually are pretty, I would say, strong in awareness of how to reduce stress. So they most likely have a meditation practice. They maybe do yoga. They usually have a very healthy lifestyle. They eat well. So those that are in that realm usually do well with how they are warm and compassionate to themselves, which is strong because that's not always easy to be. However, it doesn't mean any of these are perfect. So don't get too caught up or married to the category or soul state you're in. Just understand that that soul state will actually help you to understand more powerfully how you can improve. Because even if you're at a soul thawed state, and that is probably the most, I would say, efficient state as far as how you speak to you, it doesn't mean that you're perfect. There's still things that we need to do when you have a tendency to go into an upset, an overwhelm, frustration, disappointment. We all deal with it differently, and even if you're in a good solid soul state of being soul thawed, it doesn't mean that you can't do practices when you are in a good state on improving even in that state. So it's still good to know. And then, like I always say, our soul states go in seasons. So we might be, everything is good and solid and fine. However, unpredictable life events can happen, and we don't know how we got here, but we're here. And we could be in a grief, we can be in an upset, we can be in a financial collapse, we can be in a lot of things that will change our soul state from being soul thawed to soul shattered in a blink of an eye. And so how do we cope with that? How do we deal with that? So if you're not sure, or if you are wanting to take the test, it's in the link in this video. And join my Patreon. It's Carla Nicole over there on Patreon. Join my Patreon. You can really get an in-depth capture of what I went over in Patreon for members that I think will definitely benefit them to where they can build understanding and how to improve, because no matter what soul state we're in, we still have moments where we're mean to ourselves. And how can we improve that? Sometimes we just have to be honest with self first and then take on different decisions and learn about my 3R spectrum, which is how do we resolve our upsets? How do we react when we are upset? And how do we respond when we are upset? So all of these things has to be mendable, but again, we have to be honest with self. And sometimes honesty to who the most important person is on the planet to us, we oftentimes are not to. We will lie to ourselves like you wouldn't believe. But we also have ways to doing better if we just really stay rooted in trying to improve it. It's not always easy, but we can do it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from. And don't forget to share this video, because a lot of people don't know that the soul state you're in does impact how other people treat you, how other people relate, how other people can respond. And sometimes it also helps you to see why you seem to get certain types of people attracted to you. Well, it could be because of your inner bully. You could be a bully to you. You can be a critic of yourself. And of course, because of that, you start to seeing that outsiders seem to take on that same persona. And you're wondering, why every time I'm trying to be in a friendship, they're so critical of me? I can't seem to get anything right. Someone's always complaining about who I am. Well, take the test and find out. I'm out of here, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It is your coach, Carla Nicole. I'm out of here. You enjoy your Thursday. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.